In the red corner, standing at 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at a massive 260 pounds of punching power, it's everyone's favourite grilling machine, the late, great George Foreman. Big George would be coming to this fight with 80 professional fights to his name, with an amazing 76 wins and over a 90% knockout to win ratio. Testing not only his luck, but his chin was the 6'1", 227-pound beast from Brownsville, Brooklyn. The loudmouth, Shannon, the cannon Briggs. This knockout expert would be coming into this fight with a near-perfect record with 30 fights and 29 wins. But it wouldn't be the fighters' records that would get the boxing fans talking, but the ages of the boxers. Big George Foreman would be nearly twice Briggs' age, stepping into the ring at 48 years of age, a whopping 23 years older than the hungry young New Yorker. The boxing match between George Foreman and Shannon Briggs in 1997 was a battle between two vastly different generations of heavyweights. Foreman, an old dog with new tricks, a living legend and two-time heavyweight champion who had reinvented himself after a decade-long retirement. Briggs, on the other hand, was a young, brash contender looking to make a name for himself on the heavyweight stage, and there was no better way than going in with the legendary big old George Foreman. With his wild hair and his bodybuilder-like frame, it's safe to say it got the boxing community intrigued. By the time Foreman agreed to fight Briggs, he had already cemented his place in boxing history. After winning a gold medal in the Olympics, he dominated the heavyweight division in the early 1970s, becoming champion by demolishing Joe Frazier in 1973. However, after suffering a stunning loss to Muhammad Ali in the famed Rumble in the Jungle and another defeat 3 years after, Big George retired and spent a decade away from the sport. His comeback in the late 1980s was initially dismissed as a publicity stunt, but Foreman defied expectations. He gradually climbed the rankings, culminating in his historic 1994 victory over Michael Moorer, which made him the oldest heavyweight champion of all time at age 45. After that remarkable achievement, Big George continued fighting, going in with the biggest names in the division. By 1997, he was still a major draw in the sport, but was nearing the end of his career. Shannon Briggs was the complete opposite of Foreman in almost every way. At 25 years old, with youth, speed and confidence on his side, Briggs had built a reputation for his brash personality and aggressive boxing style, which earned him attention in the mid-1990s. Briggs's path to the fight was not without controversy. He had amassed an impressive record, but many questioned the level of his opposition. Despite his physical gifts, Briggs had not yet faced an elite-level opponent, and some critics doubted whether he was ready for a wise old George Foreman. In the months leading up to the fight with Shannon Briggs, Foreman had grown frustrated with the Boxing Council, as he had been stripped of the WBA title for refusing to fight mandatory challenger Tony Tucker. So, with no belt on the line, it was still, regardless of the outcome, it was a fascinating clash of eras, a fight that symbolised the transition of heavyweight boxing, and for Foreman it would ultimately be his farewell to the ring.
At Briggs, and Briggs started laughing and talking to him in the middle of referee's instructions. He said that he was bothered by asthma in the bout. Atlas said he never said anything about it to me. Not like tonight against Foreman. He's definitely not fighting at that overwrought pace in the first round here. Briggs smiling as he moves around the ring. His new train. If he uses the ring and stays away from the ropes, he wins the fight. If he goes to the ropes, he loses. To be, George is excellent at using the ring space to his advantage.
Yes, he uses the ropes to trap you, then he throws his big punches.
Which was so evident in his conquest of South.
The fight.
Both fighters trying to establish their jabs in this first round.
The opening round would bring Briggs' use of quick jabs and movement, Foreman stalking patiently. Briggs landed clean early shots, but Foreman absorbs them well and counters with heavy rights late in the round.
Offering a few small nuggets of wisdom as round two begins. We're joined at ringside.
First round went pretty good. They're both getting used to each other. Shannon can't put his back against the ropes. So
which fighter do you think might be able to establish his jab first?
Jab going. I think Shannon's trying to mix up his punches and use his speed. He's definitely an option to me, whether he wants to fight me as well. George definitely has the experience and is using it.
If the Holyfield deal goes south.
Well, it's
What about if Briggs wins the bout? Foreman working behind the jab. You saw how George was able to wear down Savarese and ruin him in the late rounds. His secret, Lennox, the relaxation.
definitely, that's where the experience comes in. You know, it just keeps on the pressure. And
Missing with the left there, but coming back to stick the jab. And for George Foreman, Lennox, quick thumbnail prediction. Who's going to win the fight?
well, the best.
The second round would bring more action from the aging champion, with Briggs mobile, peppering jabs while avoiding exchanges. Foreman walks him down, landing a couple of strong rights. Close round with Briggs's speed versus Foreman's power.
Angie asking George to throw that telephone pole jab. And George starts to put a little bit more mustard behind the punches. This really shows you what a specific art boxing is. I mean, the athletic gap of...
And let me tell you something else, Jim. The crowd plays a big part right here. Every time George lands a good punch, the crowd goes crazy. This has a psychological, am I hurt or what? You know, it makes him think twice about himself. Stuff like that.
Well, if he doesn't know if he's getting hit with punches, he's got a real problem. Right.
Or am I hurt? Am I looking foolish? What's going on here, you know?
Now
he's slacked and punching. You see that?
Yeah, Briggs has
took, but he's really in a defensive mode here. You saw him there with his back against the rope, it seems, against Shannon Briggs.
And I think I think that's George's best weapon because people don't see it coming.
Shannon looks...
I'm going to say it. Round 3 saw some of the best I've ever seen from George Foreman. Moving on the front foot, looking to catch his man slipping. Tell me another 48-year-old heavyweight who could have gone in with a prime Shannon Briggs and wear him down. Crazy.
Briggs' corner is feeling this sense of urgency that we were talking about here.
Yeah, you heard veteran cutman Al threw an average of about 33 punches around in the first 3 rounds, and that won't get it done. He's back his head. Okay, stop hitting him. Yeah, but stop hitting him in the back of his head. Hand, Briggs not releasing the right hand up to this point in the bout, landing the jab at about a 70% clip.
Stop punching. Oh, Shannon's starting to feel real bad now, and the crowd is not helping him in. Oh, good shot.
It's easy if you have a jab.
Very easy if you have a jab. Oh, Shannon.
fight like a Tyson, come out and roar despite his plans, but we haven't seen that part of him yet.
Head, man. On the clips.
And referee Eddie Cotton continually warning Briggs for hitting Foreman in the back of the head.
Why isn't he throwing the right hand, do you think, Roy?
Because he doesn't see a right hand target. Every time he looks, he sees jet.
As Big George walked back to his corner, he didn't even look fazed. He even had energy to stand between rounds. Shannon's corner, on the other hand, were not impressed, telling him to get into the match and start throwing that right hand.
A lot of guys, when they see George toting Jeeps around, they feel like body punches won't hurt this guy, so why throw it?
Logic tells you plan A ain't working, you got to try plan B.
Go to corner. Here. Okay.
A quick snip of the gloves from the legendary Angelo Dundee and back to the action.
And for once, Angelo didn't do this on purpose.
For once.
Every time Briggs seizes the guy.
Born to fight.
Glancing blows, you wondered if it was gone since he's gone 3 years without a knockout, but he may be in line for one tonight. First 4 rounds.
Jim, 3 rounds to 1, 39-37, Big George Foreman and Briggs.
If he did those things, George might not have chosen him from that opponent's list.
Oh, that's a good body shot, Jim.
Left hook to the body. I think that's something that Briggs ought to do.
Stop.
The fifth would bring more of the same. Foreman on the front foot, connecting with clean flush shots, staggering Briggs briefly. Briggs, however, showed more of himself in this round, but he was going to need to do more.
Round 6 of a scheduled 12.
inside, step around George. Don't let George have what he wants. That's his best chance of winning this fight. He has to keep punching George like that, right there.
And he's got to try to give George angles instead of being in front of him as he has been throughout so much of the bout.
And that's what you don't want to do.
You know, these punches look so slow from George. You're thinking, how to...
Right hand by Briggs.
That's a pretty good idea, too. You know, change up. Throw straight right hands and lead with him.
Younger fighter, and if he wants to win this fight, he has to stand up under that.
Stop punching.
Left hand.
The crowd will get in anybody's head like that. It's not just him.
There's a quick left hook inside that landed flush for Shannon Briggs. Halfway through.
The sixth round would see a better round from the younger man. Briggs would start to turn up the gas on a slow-moving Foreman, but it was still George looking for the battle.
Admitting, giving in, but he found something in that last round. Let's see if he can exploit it.
Every round he starts out just right. If he just can keep that up for 3 minutes and continue that throughout the fight, he'll have no problem.
Big power punch edge for Briggs. In round 6, he landed 17 of them to only 4 for George.
Okay, all right. Use your hand speed on him. Time now, though. A lot of pressure there sometimes, and people don't realize the pressure that a person is under when you profile them and you do all these type things, and it's the first time.
It was a real good idea.
And now he's out punching George, he's out working George, and I think he's fighting a lot smarter fight now.
And just like that, Foreman and Briggs would be heading into the 7th round of the bout. The aging champ had started to slow down. Could Briggs capitalize on this and get himself back in the driving seat?
George Foreman is a compelling figure in boxing.
Numbers in round 7 showed Foreman attempting only 21 punches. Here's a hard right hand across the top by Foreman through 7.
Jim, I got it 5 rounds to 2, 68-65 George Foreman. I think he hurt him and looking him down and wrapping him with the harder shots. I think he's winning the fight.
He's winning the 8th round. That much on Larry's card.
I'm glad I got it out of the way.
Foreman with a hard left hook.
Stop punch.
Yeah, and because Briggs is not being offensive now. Briggs is all defensive.
Letting George hit him. Now Briggs lands a left hook across the top. Great point. The best
First period, in my case, I think is a good offense. At least that's what my dad taught me.
Very
smart
good
shot.
Hard right hand across the top for Foreman. Round 8.
On this rally, he's 48 years old. He may get a 10-8 round here for this big rally. And then he
Well, Big George has come back with a second wind, and with it he has brought hands of lightning and fists of thunder. A truly remarkable round from the 48-year-old two-time heavyweight champion.
In round 8 and landed 64% of them. So it was a huge round for Foreman.
Shannon needs to tighten up here and win the rest of these rounds if he wants to even be in contention for this fight. Did they say Shannon Briggs the one that had asthma, or was it the cornerman? The cornerman seemed like he was struggling a little bit just now. Or maybe he was just overexcited.
Maybe the asthma is contagious.
Question that he had asthma. I think his concern was he never raised it before. Why would you raise it?
Fight, waiting for Shannon to get his eye stitched up, that Briggs never said a word to him about asthma during that period of time. Listen while Teddy talks.
Well, then Teddy needs somebody that can't talk.
Foreman crunching Briggs inside with a left hook. And Briggs punctuates the exchange with a right cross. So Foreman chases him across the ring.
If he keeps on knocking little ditches out, he's going to eventually chop you down.
Well, give him the gold star for bravery then.
Yeah, because he's fighting.
Foreman would head back to his corner with his head down but his spirits up, with both fighters in the 9th looking a little worn out. A lot aimed at the midsection for both of our contenders. A closer round for both men.
Foreman landing 120 of 177. Briggs 44 of 104.
Briggs once again starting out the correct way.
10 round. He had a big rally in round 9 of the Valdez fight. Let's see if he's got something saved for rounds 10, 11, and 12 hit. Whose jab did you like the best?
Larry Holmes had a great jab.
Veritable who's who of boxing tonight. You've heard from Lennox Lewis. Brunell Whitaker sitting in the row right behind us. Second round knockout. Totally one-sided affair. The two had dominated with body punching. He knocked Lally down 5 times.
Shot by Shannon.
Hard right hand to the body. Sets up a combination up top. Foreman feels the need to come back.
The 10th round would see a good round of boxing from George Foreman. Playing the long game seems to be working. But Shannon Briggs would finish the round with possibly the best combination of the night so far.
If Shannon is a gambler, he just wrote himself a hard 10. Now he has 2 more to go and he'll be all right.
Good job. For a young fighter is heart, courage, championship stuff.
Right. Well, I see a little bit of it because he's taking some good punches tonight. He's showing some good angles. He's throwing some pretty...
Jim, 97-93, 7 rounds to 3, George Foreman. In the bank to win the fight. I have it 6-3 and 1 even.
Either man got a chance to score a knockout in these last 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
Of course, both men still have a chance to score a knockout.
5 of Foreman's last 7 fights have gone the distance. Effort by Foreman as he approaches 49 years old.
You're the one who's supposed to go out there to show yourself. You're supposed to be the show.
Briggs badly off balance as he landed the right-hand shot. In history, knocking out Trevor Berbick in the 2nd round. Of course, if Foreman buys... Hard shots and more courage and stomach in the last 3 rounds than in his whole career up to that point.
My points, too.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the very last professional round of Big Bad George Foreman. After 81 fights, 68 knockouts, 2 heavyweight world championships, an Olympic gold medal and 30 years in the ring. All we can say is thank you, George, for the memories from all of us here in the boxing world. May you rest in peace. You truly were bigger than boxing.
Round 12 of George Foreman's 81st professional bout.
I think so.
Foreman landing to the body, comes back with a left hook. Jab.
Just trying to last the distance that he has submitted to George's enormous will.
Fight, maybe he doesn't need knockouts to keep winning at this stage of his career, as long as he can choose his opponents this carefully. Of Shannon Briggs' nose. Good attack. All Foreman now as Briggs backs up. Left hook inside. Foreman coming back with a left right of his own. 3 judges at ringside, probably holding the fate of Foreman's career in their hands. But to our eyes, it appears he's not in danger of that.
And I'm not one for giving a fight to a guy that runs away. And certainly Shannon Briggs ran for 12 rounds from George Foreman.
Numbers for this bout. Foreman landing 284 out of 488. Briggs throws 6 more.
Decision and new linear heavyweight champion of the world.
A controversial decision in favour of the younger man. We here at Below the Belt Boxing just know Big George will be looking down on the sport he loved and his fans and family alike. Rest in peace, George. You've earned your place in the stars. I've been Frank Monroe. Take care.
Remember, the George Foreman lean, mean, fat reducing grilling machine. No home should be without this thing. God bless you. Go get one.